Welcome to Virtual Coffee with Dawn Rickabaugh, the Note Queen, where we talk about owner financing and notes. Financial solutions, one mom and pop to another.
Alice, are you there?
Yeah, I am. Hi.
Hi.
This is Alice from Denver. Even
Hi.
Kansas City number. Hi. I first time I've listened to you, and this is great.
Fantastic.
I'm a real estate broker, so I have a different pool of knowledge, but I don't really know much about holding notes and selling notes.
Oh my gosh, I just feel like it's the biggest ka-ching if I get a real estate professional on here. So welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank
We
you.
need more of you guys to understand this other side of it.
Yeah, well, I kind of swim with investors, and a lot of realtors and brokers around me do a lot with notes.
Oh, fantastic.
And do hard money loans and all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. So it's just a new area of knowledge for me. So it's cool. Right. And having a lot of fun. So it seems like you mentioned the 65% loan to value just a little bit ago. And I think that kind of blew by me. Where did that fit in? And then I also wanted to ask, when you look at a kind of a healthy portfolio, how much of that is going to be these loans that you think, somebody's going to cash out or refi within a couple of years, and then which ones do you hold? So I kind of like to hear your thoughts on that.
Okay, let's take the first one again. Is when I threw out the 65% number, where did it come from? Let's handle that because, with these gray hairs that are coming in, I can only hang on to a couple things at a time. So, all right. So just to be clear, so you have a lot of hard money lenders. A lot of people know hard money lenders, and we understand they generally have their criteria, right? What is it? They just throw out a number of some hard money people. What's their max loan to value?
I know some that'll do 100.
Right. So, well, depending. Okay, that's okay. The operator is experienced. Maybe they're getting way below market properties, but in general, I mean,
at least 10% down, and either between 10 and 14%, and between 2 and 3 points.
That is crazy. For hard money, that is absolutely phenomenal. So basically you're saying they'll do a 90% loan, 2 points, anywhere from 10 to 14% interest. Okay. Well, in the old days, okay, so, in the conservative days, 65% was a very standard number for hard money lenders. And now with the climate that we have now, where there is a lot of money chasing both property and paper, the risk tolerance has gone up. I'll see people buying a non-performing note, maybe 90 cents on the dollar for higher than I would pay for the actual property if it was listed as an REO. So it's insane. Money is crazy looking for safety and diversification and everything. So people are taking on more risk. Prices are going up, margins are getting tighter in general. Now you always have those players that are, I'm not saying there's not deals out there. There are, but does that make sense to you? Alice, that you've seen prices go up, margins get tighter, money getting more comfortable with higher loan to value, with more risk, right? Because
I'm in Denver.
So, it's super hot there, right?
Denver market's crazy. Yeah.
Super hot there, right? Yeah. So, it's kind of like saying, so let me ask you this, just out of curiosity, Alice. In the last downturn, how much of a percentage drop did you guys go down there?
You know what? I wasn't in Denver at that time, but I'd say it could be as much as 35, 40%.
So
but it bounced.
Yeah, it bounced.
Big time.
Yeah, no, here in Northwestern Nevada, I wasn't here either. I was in Southern California where things kind of dropped too. But here in Northwestern Nevada, in the last downturn, it wasn't uncommon for deflation of anywhere from 35 to 50%. So when someone has done a hard money loan, and I'm not I'm not saying there's situations where, oh, but we got it at 50 cents on the dollar and all these other things. But just as a concept, if the acquisition price, if I'm the lender, if I'm the private money lender, someone says, hey, I got this property under contract for $100,000. I have my own rehab money. I need a loan from you at 90%. So if I do a 90% loan to value loan to that person, in a stable or appreciating market, and if that operator knows what they're doing and they actually finish the work, they put their money in and they churn it quickly, they have the velocity down, then it's all fine. But what if something happens, they don't finish the work, and then the market has a 35% decrease? Now I've got a $90,000 loan against a property whose as-is cash value is $65,000. Does that make sense, right? So really, it's a lot of risk. So that's why people, the last downturn, a lot of people, especially if they had a lot of projects going at the same time, man, did they get hit hard. Because when the market drops, it goes so fast. So I'm just saying we're seeing a lot more risk for appetite for risk. And like I said, money is chasing places to go. So anyway, so I'm just saying that I'm very conservative because I'm already pricing in a likely softening of the market. So just typically I don't do loans. Like I wouldn't make a loan against a $100,000 acquisition. I would only loan $65,000 of that. So it's kind of like a hard money mindset of risk. So I understand I'm not going to do many loans, because if an investor can get more leverage and go to someone who'll give them 90,000, that's where they're going to go, right? So I'm not competitive in that market, but I'm really conservative, and I don't have to have super high volume, and I don't like being spread too thin, or having too many deals going that are predicated upon the market holding still and staying solid for through the whole deal. So I'm taking that hard money mindset of I would only loan $65,000 against a $100,000 property. So I'd want $35,000 cash from the investor plus them having their own rehab money. But in exchange, I'd probably be a lower rate, right? I'd probably give them, instead of 10 to 14%, they'd probably get 8, something like that, because I have more, right? So I just take that underwriting in my mind. And so 65%, when I'm buying a note or making a loan, that number is still in my head, because at the end of the day, the collateral, since I'm not a big credit score person, that's not how a lot of the institutions are very heavily credit score driven, like people getting loans or the large institutional note buyers. They, the credit score makes or breaks a deal for them. But for me, I'm just a collateral-based thinking person in general. So even if I'm buying a note, let's say the property sold for 120,000 or 100,000. Okay, just to keep the numbers straight, or apples to apples. Property sold for $100,000. The people put down $10,000, and then there's a $90,000 note. Well, I'm looking at of course I like my little yield calculations, with HB 10B2, but first I look at risk. I go, what's the most, based on the value of the collateral, what's the most I will risk against this property? And it's going to be the same number, 65%. So that $90,000 note, no matter how it's written, I can't buy for more than $65,000 because of my risk, thinking of risk first. So if there was a 20% down payment and there was an $80,000 note, I could maybe, depending on the terms, buy that for $65,000, but no more. You see what I'm saying? So whether I'm making a loan or buying a note on the secondary market, my underwriting is still at 65% of the value of the collateral, with sometimes a little squeak up or down depending on other circumstances. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, it's good. I think it sounds like you just have a really clear parameter that you stick with, is what I'm kind of getting from your.
Right. And so there's many note buyers. And so And so you, just like those hard money lenders will go up really high, 90, 100%, which I would never, ever do, because you get caught in the downturn and ka-ching, you not only don't get your return, but you don't get all your principal back. There was tons of people that lost a lot of money in the last downturn. And I think it's not going to be that far, but long before we have another change up in the marketplace. But you have note buyers, like you have your larger institutional buyers like FNAC and oh gosh, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to just pick. There's several larger institutional buyers. Since I don't work with them, I'm just strictly mom and pop. I don't do anything with large institutions. It's just my preference. But they might buy that note, that $90,000 note at 95 cents on the dollar, or even 97 or 90. That's much more than I would pay. But every investor, and I'll pay more for local paper because I know if something goes sideways, it's in my backyard. Or I'll pay more for paper that's in a deed of trust state where it's quick and easy to foreclose versus a mortgage state that could take 2-3 years. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of different
that's
right. Now let me ask you this, Alice, because now I'm going to ask you for something. I want some clarification. I heard not too long ago that in Colorado, they almost made it impossible for real estate brokers to participate in an owner carry sale with a homeowner.
No, I'm not aware of that at all. I work mostly with investors, so that's a pretty common option. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did
we have to disclose like crazy. I mean, if you're.
Yeah, it was like
if they're
really
personally involved. If they're personally involved.
No. Just
the broker.
I had just thought that that there was the DRE in Colorado had made it very dicey and risky for the average real estate professional to be involved in a transaction involving owner financing. I just had that in my mind.
No, nope. My firm works with about 1,500 small mom and pop investors, and that's always an option.
Fantastic. Why don't you just thank you for that. Pitch yourself. How do people find you if they're in the Denver, Colorado area or want to be, or how do they find you, Alice?
Wow, thank you. Thanks for that. So my name's Alice Brink, and I work with A Better Way Realty. And my email is alice@abetterwayrealty.com. My phone number is 816-365-9496. That's still my Kansas City number. I like it. I have a Denver number, but I can never remember that one. So,
Well, fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, bringing that up. That it can be confusing. So I always appreciate when people ask for clarification.
You've been listening to Virtual Coffee with Dawn Rickabaugh. For more, please visit notequeen.com.